goods wagons, Mrs. Smith. Just a few of the 1,124,812 owned by British Railways, which, if they were all laid end to end, would stretch from Weymouth to Wadi Halfa. But Mrs. Smith, if by some misfortune they were laid end to end, how would you fill your shopping basket? You don't see the connection? Well, listen to this.
Tomatoes? Aye, we've got some straight from Weymouth yesterday morning. Guernsey Toms. Aye, well, there's best quality Sunripe, 2 and 3, first grade whites, 2 shillings, pinks, 1 and 10. A pound of Sunripe? Aye, well, you'll not do better anywhere, missus.
Hey, Joe, what was that wee drink we had last year down in Herefordshire on holiday? You know, that stuff they make from apples. Scrumpy, eh? What's it now? Cider. Ah, cider, that's it. Ah, we'll have a wee firkin of that.
Well, we've something from Somerset, Mrs. MacDonald, from Glastonbury. It'll be just the thing you'll be wanting, I'm thinking, for tramping about when the snow's with us, you know. A fur-lined boot, that's what it is. Oh, they'll be as warm can be.
Look, have you any of those heavy-duty tyres to fit that Ross Conveyor timber porter of ours? You'll have to order. And where do they come from? Down south? Well, how soon do you think?
Hard centres or soft? You like them soft-hearted? Now it's you that's getting soft. Well, there's coffee cream, caramel. Oh, no, don't be greedy. We've not got the factory. We've 1 box and we'll make it last. You can have 1. There.
By the box, by the gross, by the ton, by the 100 ton, goods of all kinds. And you might think, Mrs. Smith, that these goods are drawn by lorry engines, locomotives. But in fact, they're moved by the force of human needs and desires. Millions like you and me, Mrs. Smith, with feet that can feel cold, tongues that can taste sweetness. To satisfy our needs, some of us have sailed the seas, have dug in the earth. Others have built factories, engines, machines. And some have organized transport systems, coordinating 1 million movements every day, so that others can bring the things we want across the green tablecloth of England. To places like Bristol. Here, some of these loads will stay. But if Bristol lived for itself alone, the fountains near Great George's Cathedral would be like feathers in a discarded cap. The town centre would grow silent, and the harbour would forget what ships looked like. But Bristol has a tradition of handling goods that stretches back beyond Sebastian Cabot. And at Midland Road Goods Depot, a certain train is being marshalled.
Sheffield, Wednesday playing Chelsea this week. Should win. Preston, home to Blackpool. Draw. No chance against Leeds. Golf team. Marbles. Hopscotch. Tossing the cable. Up the Rams.
All waiting for loads to come over from the largest covered goods depot in the country, Temple Meads.
Tell the traffic people, says Shed Superintendent Wilcox, we'll have to have another trailer to get this tomato traffic to Midland Road in time for the 4:48. Quote this correspondence. The customer wants it on that train, and it's wired traffic. Out of the van pits onto the trays. Then the autos can take them round to the loading dock.
Temple Meads is like some gigantic sideboard. A sideboard almost as big as Wembley, with 5,000 feet of platform served by 15 railroads, 35 auto trucks and 4 mobile cranes. Accommodation for 400 wagons and 1,000 tons of goods all at one time. Goods assembled from the fields, fresh packed from the assembly line, green gathered from the factory. Here, they're sorted and served out to the city, the surrounding country, and on to the sideboards of smaller depots.
On the belt, the marker makes his mark. M for Midland Road, where Chief Foreman Broad calls the output foreman. Shipping traffic, he says, green arrow through load for Heysham. Getting on the 448 and we'll wire the van number for it. Ah, says the outwards forward. We're putting on the front end of Scotch. That's a good ideal, says Broad.
In the yard, they're stowing the wagons of the 448 Bristol Leeds fast freight. Double-deckers, van fits, tea vans, partos, ales, fruits, and shock vans, all fully fitted.
Silverware and wind, Van Gogh's tonnage bonus again. Might as well load fresh air.
Sober times, even the sherry's on the wagon.
Reminds me, Nyland's for the missus' birthday.
Hello, must be fitting up new gates to Leeds Market.
Backing up. Make sure that vulnerables ain't got no leaks.
Whistle while you work, and by the time it's the bottom layer, you've slipped as many discs as a desert island.
"15 sealed wagons in this train, all carrying vulnerable traffic like cigarettes, tobacco, wines, spirits, chocolates. And nylons, Mrs. Smith, would be in these as well, if any were being sent.
They'll have a copper at the other end to see 'em opened up, too.
This train moves at express passenger speeds. It needs the brake power to stop it and couplings to hold it firmly together. So every wagon is fully fitted with vacuum brakes and screw couplings. Now she's ready for the guard, Thomas Michael James Tudor, known from the cradle as Sonny Jim.
32 wagons, Jim. FF1, 27 vans, 2 high fits, 3 flat, pick up 6 at Ashchurch, 17 off at Derby, 8 Leeds, 7 Scotch. Okay? Do your best.
Every guard when in charge of a freight train must satisfy himself that the prescribed brake power is available and in proper working order.
Minimum 19 inches on the engine, 17 inches in the brake. Okay. Right away.
And the 448 fully fitted important Seahead Code Express freight, like a long caterpillar on roller skates, leaves Midland Road, Bristol, on its way to Leeds.
Signalmen at the undermentioned signal boxes must report by telephone to the control room the movements of trains, as shown below.
Gloucester Control, Bristol Barrow Lane signalman. 448 left correct time.
Thanks, Joe.
From these train reports, the position of freight trains must be indicated currently on the train board by the movement of coloured pegs and train cards with details.
Driver 4:08 p.m., guard 4:18 p.m., station Gloucester. Engine 45238, class 5 LM. With 7 wagons chocolate, 15 cases Bristol milk sherry, 12 cases port, 6 barrels of cider, 10 cases of Spanish wine, 6 plates pottery, 2 tons printed matter, 40 cartons footwear, 10 tierces leaf tobacco, 15 underweight cigarettes, 7 crates of machinery, 2.5 tons light casting, 40 heavy-duty dirt, 30 revolving office chairs, 31 wicker chairs, 1 ton of bird seed, 8 crates of jam, 2 marmalade, 10 coffee essence, 2 wagons tomatoes, 58 step ladders, 4 big trucks, 2 shipwreck, 3 A-rigs, 12 petrol motors, 9 dynamos, 72 broom handles, and 1 garden gate.
Multiply by 365 days in the year, well, that's 365 gates. Then by 529, that's the number of express freight trains every day. And what's the name of the guard? Tudor, of course. Why? Because he was rostered for it.
Each train must always have a tail lamp attached to the rear of the last vehicle, and this will furnish evidence to the signalman and others that the train is complete.
But to the men in control, a series of messages from other people's eyes.
Jopley Junction signalman. All right for the pit-in?
Yes. Okay, Bill. Up the station, please. Gloucester Control speaking.
Astros level crossing signalman, 448 left here, 75. Attach 4 leads, 2 Carlton.
Right, Harry. Thank you very much. Good. Well, she's all right as far as Abbotswood.
But after that, a different scene. The overgrowth of the Midlands. Bromsgrove, Birmingham, Tamworth, and the countryside crafts gone for a burden. Instead, a million machines yelling for steel, pressing, grinding, stamping, nuts, bolts, tubes, bearing, prams, motorbikes, diesels, and a few more freight trains needed there, Mrs. Smith. At windswept Derby St. Mary, Yard Inspector Joseph Charles Gibbs, or Joe, who comes of an old shunting family, waits for 10 o'clock and the 448s.
There she is. Now for the rush. 40 minutes of it. That's what they give you, 40 minutes. First there's driver and fireman to swap over and have a bit of a gobble.
Evening. What's she like?
Bit cold-hearted. Keep her stoked up.
Right, we'll put another lump on then.
The guard's coming off too. Just thinking what it's to say to me and the new guard. And you can't hurry folk. It only flusters them and something gets forgot. More haste, less speed. Well, he confirms there's 38 wagons with 4 Derby, 7 York, 6 Manchester to cut off. And they thought the vacuum had a slow puncture the last 2 miles, so that's something for the examiners. Right. So while the new guard takes over, we're to start pulling things to bits and putting them together again. There's another thing. Tim Sullivan. Used to shunt 2 pigs and a calf in Cork. A good lad, but he's new. I need to think what he's about. So that's more time. Right. Well, the driver takes them 17 forward, brings them back on 6, and they're uncoupled. Then he goes forward and comes back on 10 and picks up 14 other wagons. Then forward again and back again for Tim to couple up again. With all points hand-operated, and when you can practically feel the minutes ticking away, by things don't half seem to move slow. It's all right for them as gets corns in unusual places. They think you can chuck wagons about like shuttlecocks. They want to try it out here for a bit. Wonder if vacuum's working. There's Tim now, signaling the driver to blow it up.
Every guard when in charge of a freight train must satisfy himself that the prescribed brake power is available and in proper working order.
All clear, fair enough. Control. Hello, Harry. 448 Preston Lee's just leaving, right time.
Left Derby St. Mary, 10:40. Vacuum okay. Guard George Edward Tassiano, a little man with a voice like the king of bullfrogs, enters his log. 35 wagons behind Royal Train driver Harry Fricks.
Asland. Coal carbonisation. Coking plant. Biggest in 12. Need it in these parts too. Steel country. Chesterfield, Sheffield, Rotherham. England's art. The industrial art. Coal, iron and steel. That's what England runs on. Maybe oil and atoms in a few years, but you'll still need steel. Aye, and wagons to take it wherever it's wanted. One clear. Fast one coming.
By gum, look at that. Any faster and they'll have all passengers sending themselves big goods.
Hunslet Down Junction signal box. Down near the cutting at the rhubarb end of Hunslet sidings. Number 31, down goods to through sidings. Number 30, down through sidings. Train entering section 256. The 448 Bristol Leeds Express freight has brought another load of wants to Leeds. But that's just one of the freight trains run by the railways that carries every kind of wagon for every kind of load. Stainless steel demountable tankers for beer, ebonite or rubber lined for chemicals, siphoning only for inflammables, insulated containers for meat and frozen foods, 20-ton grain hoppers that unload from the bottom, steam-heated tankers for stuff like tar, slatted wagons for cattle. It has to be ready for anything from iron ore to steel needles, from ants' eggs to elephants. The needs and desires of people like you and me, Mrs. Smith, have drawn this train across 200 miles. And now our individual requirements bring separate consignments to other towns. To Manchester, for instance.
Of course, when they get those diesels on the job, chocolates will be coming up so fast you'll have them shoved in your mouth even before you've time to ask for them. Oh, thanks very much.
Or Blackpool. To Stockton-on-Tees.
MPG Supplies? Mr. Potter? Morning. Thanks for those tyres. Ah, she's back to job now, picking up a bit of kindling, you know. Yes, smart work. Well, see if you can get them up same day next time.
Glasgow.
Oh, that's the stuff you've written enough. One barrel's a fair sample. Come on now, let's try the second one. See if that's up to the same standard.
Or Inverness.
Aye, the shop woman was right enough. Just fine for the snow. But I'm wondering if they won't be a wee bit warm for the summer. Well, perhaps that'll be a good excuse for a pair of sandals.
And neither does the story end there, Mrs. Smith, in place or in time. Our demands are never-ending. And while yesterday's consignments puff towards towns in the remote northeast of Scotland, far away in Bristol, someone is chalking up destinations on the vans of the 448 Bristol Leeds Freight Express.